You've configured Nginx. You've tested it locally. It's time to go live. But before you point real traffic at your server, a structured safety check can catch problems that cost you hours or customers. Nginx configuration errors fall into several categories. Syntax errors caught by Nginx. These are easy. Configuration that parses correctly but doesn't work as intended, harder to catch. Missing or wrong headers that cause subtle bugs in your application, often invisible until a specific user action. Security misconfigurations, potentially catastrophic. A good Nginx safety check takes 15 minutes and covers 6 areas: syntax and startup, proxy connectivity, header verification, SSL configuration, error handling, and log verification. Companies that run production web servers do this before every significant Nginx change. They have checklists. They run curl commands. They look at logs. Not because they distrust themselves, but because Nginx configuration has many moving parts and mistakes are easy to make. In this chapter, we'll build a systematic safety check you can run for every deployment. At the end, you'll have a checklist you can reference for every new server you configure. The goal is simple: find problems before users do. The first step is always Nginx. You already know this. But let's understand what it actually checks. Sudo Nginx parses all Nginx configuration files, nginx.conf, and everything it includes, including all files and sites enabled. It checks for syntax errors like missing semicolons, unclosed braces, and unknown directives. It also validates that referenced files exist. SSL certificate paths include paths. When Nginx succeeds, you see Nginx, the configuration file /etc/nginx/nginx.conf syntax is OK, and Nginx, configuration file /etc/nginx/nginx.conf test is successful. When it fails, the error message tells you the file name and line number: Nginx, emergency, invalid parameter proxy _pass and /etc/nginx/sites enabled /myapp8. Go to that file, fix line 8. After fixing, always run Nginx again before reloading. After a successful test, reload, sudo systemctl reload Nginx. Then verify Nginx is actually running, systemctl status Nginx. Look for active, running. If it shows failed, something went wrong at startup. Check journal.cl Nginx no pager N50 for the startup error. This first step takes 30 seconds and should be muscle memory: edit config, Nginx systemctl reload Nginx. After Nginx starts, verify that it can actually reach your node.js backend. From the server itself, curl http://localhost, this hits Nginx on port 80, which should proxy to node.js. You should see your app's response, not an Nginx error page. Curl http://localhost/health. If your app has a health endpoint, use it. A JSON response like status::OK confirms the full chain works. Nginx received the request, forwarded it to node.js, node.js responded. If you get a 502 bad gateway, node.js is either not running or not listening on the expected port. Check PM2 list: is the app online? Check that the port in proxy_pass matches the port your app listens on. Run curl http://localhost 3000/health directly, bypassing Nginx, to verify node.js is responding on its own port. If you get a 504 gateway timeout, node.js is running but not responding in time. Either the request takes too long or there's a network issue on localhost, rare. Check PM2 logs for errors. If you get 200 but the response content is wrong, the routing may be incorrect. Check that proxy_pass points to the right path and that any trailing /configuration matches what your app expects. Headers tell you a lot about whether Nginx is configured correctly. Use curl I to see response headers without the body. Curl I https://yourdomain.com, the uppercase I shows only response headers. Look at the status code: 200 for a successful response, 301 of 302 for a redirect. The server header should show Nginx if server_tokens is off. If it shows Nginx/1.18.0 with a version number, add server_tokens off to your server block for security. Check X-forwarded proto is being passed correctly. In your node.js app, add a debug endpoint that returns the headers it received, res.json, REQ headers. Hit that endpoint from curl and verify xrealIP, X-forwarded for, and X-forwarded proto are present. If you configured HTTP to HTTPS redirect, curl I http://yourdomain.com should return a 301 redirect to https://yourdomain.com. The location header should show the HTTPS URL. Security headers to verify, X-frame options, should be same origin, X-content type options, should be NOSNF, strict transport security if you've configured HSTS. Add debug endpoint in node.js for testing, apt-get /debug/headers, REQ, res, equals res.json, REQ headers. Remove it before production launch. If your site is HTTPS, the SSL configuration needs verification beyond just it loads. From outside the server, not from localhost, curl https://yourdomain.com. This confirms the certificate is valid and the HTTPS connection works from the public internet. Check the certificate details, curl-6 https://yourdomain.com 2 and 1 grep A5 SSL. The verbose output shows the certificate subject, issuer, and expiry date. Test the SSL grade with online tools. Go to sslabs.com/ssltest and enter your domain. This tests your TLS configuration thoroughly, cipher suites, protocol versions, certificate chain. A properly configured server with Let's Encrypt should get an A or A+. Common SSL issues: certificate chain incomplete, your certificate is valid but the intermediate certificate is missing. Curl will fail with SSL certificate problem, unable to get local issuer certificate. The fix is to use fullchain.pem, which includes intermediates, instead of cert.pem. Certificate mismatch: the certificate is for a different domain. Curl reports SSL, no alternative certificate subject name matches target host name. Certificate expired, the certificate has passed its validity date. Let's Encrypt certificates are valid for 90 days. Certbot auto-renewal handles this, but verify it's running. Test HTTP to HTTPS redirect, curl http://yourdomain.com, the L flag follows redirects. You should eventually get a 200 from the HTTPS version. Verify that error handling works correctly both for errors from Node.js and for Nginx handled situations. Test of 404, curl https://yourdomain.com/this-path-does-not-exist. The response should be a 404, and if you've configured a custom 404 page, the body should contain it. If Nginx's default 404 page appears instead of your app's 404, check whether the request is reaching Node.js at all or being caught by Nginx's default error handling. Test 502 handling, temporarily stop Node.js, PM2 stop myapp, then curl your domain. You should see either your custom maintenance page, if configured, or Nginx's default 502 page. The important thing is the server responds, it shouldn't hang. Then restart Node.js, PM2 start myapp. Test that blocked paths return the right response, curl https://yourdomain.com/.env should return 444, connection closed, or 404 if you used return 404 instead of 444. Curl https://yourdomain.com/wp-admin, same. Check rate limiting: if you've configured rate limiting, test it works. Using a simple loop in curl, for ION 125, do curl so/dev/null-w% http_code https://yourdomain.com/api/test, done. After the configured rate is exceeded, you should see 429 responses. Logs tell you what happened that your manual tests may have missed. Review them as part of the safety check. Access log: verify requests are being logged, tail/var/log/nginx/access.log or your custom log path. Make a few requests to your domain, then check the access log. Each request should appear with the correct status code, IP, and path. Error log: check for warnings or errors, tail/var/log/nginx/error.log. Any errors here are important. Common things to look for: upstream timed out means Node.js is slow for some requests. Connect failed means Nginx couldn't reach Node.js. SSL_do_handshake failed means SSL issues. Node.js logs also review PM2 logs after the Nginx check, PM2 logs lines 50. Verify requests are appearing in Node.js logs that correspond to what you sent through Nginx. This confirms the proxy chain is working end-to-end. Real IP logging: verify the IP addresses appearing in your Nginx access log are real client IPs, not 127.0.0.1. If all entries show 127.0.0.1 as the client IP, your X-real IP or X forwarded for configuration is missing from Nginx, or the log format isn't using the right variable. After your go live, monitor both logs for 30 minutes. Real traffic reveals issues that curl tests sometimes miss, particularly around path handling, encoding, and edge cases in headers. A reference of the most common Nginx configuration mistakes and their fixes. Mistake: trailing/mismatch and proxy_pass. Location/API but proxy_pass http://localhost 3000/. This sends requests for/API/users as //users to node.js. Fix: both should have trailing slashes or neither should. Mistake: forgetting proxy_set_header X real IP. All requests appear to come from 127.0.0.1. Fix, add proxy underscore set underscore header x real IP in the location block. Also add appset, trust proxy 1 in express. Mistake, sites available config without sites enabled symlink. Config file exists but site is unreachable. Fix ilns etc Nginx sites available myapp etc Nginx sites enabled myapp. Mistake, using cert.pem instead of fullchain.pem for SSL certificate. Some clients, particularly mobile apps, fail to connect because they can't verify the certificate chain. Fix, use fullchain.pem as the SSL underscore certificate path. Mistake, forgetting to remove the default site. Requests go to the default Nginx page instead of your app, or your app's server block is never matched. Fix, rm etc Nginx sites enabled default. Mistake, WebSocket connections drop after 60 seconds. The default proxy underscore read underscore timeout is 60 seconds. For WebSocket connections, this closes the connection. Fix, add proxy underscore read underscore timeout 3600s, and proxy underscore send underscore timeout 3600s, in the WebSocket location block. Let me give you a concise checklist to run for every new Nginx configuration. Syntax and startup, Nginx T shows no errors. Systemctl status Nginx shows active running. Connectivity, curl http://localhost returns your app's response, not Nginx error page. Curl http://localhost 3000 directly returns a response, node.js is up independently. Headers, curl https://yourdomain.com shows status 200 incorrect headers. Debug endpoint shows x real IP, x forwarded proto from node.js perspective. HTTP redirect returns 301 and correct location header. SSL, certificate is valid and not expired. Correct certificate path uses fullchain.pem. SSL Labs test score is A or better. Error handling / this path does not exist returns 404, from app or Nginx. With node.js stopped, requests return 502 immediately. /env and /wpadmin return 444. Logs, access log shows real IPs and correct status codes. Error log has no unexpected errors. PM2 logs show requests arriving with correct paths. This checklist takes 15 minutes. It catches the problems that would otherwise show up as user complaints. A diagnostic scenario based on a real common issue. After setting up Nginx, your app works but every request from Node.js's perspective shows the client IP is 127.0.0.1. When you grep your access log, you see real IPs. What's wrong? Option A, Nginx isn't forwarding the real IP. The Nginx access log has real IPs, so Nginx is correctly receiving them. The issue is in the forwarding layer. Option B, you're missing proxy underscore set underscore header x real IP in your Nginx location block. This is a likely cause. Without this header directive, Nginx doesn't pass the client IP to Node.js. Node.js sees the connection from Nginx 127.0.0.1, not the original client. Option C, you need to restart Node.js for it to see the headers. Restarting doesn't help, the issue is a missing Nginx configuration directive, not a Node.js restart issue. Option D, you need appset, trust proxy 1 in Express without Nginx changes. This is the other half of the fix, but it only tells Express to read the x real IP header if Nginx is sending it. If Nginx isn't sending the header, trust proxy doesn't help. The answer is actually B+, you need both, proxy underscore set underscore header x real IP in Nginx and appset, trust proxy 1 in Express. Nginx passes the header, Express trusts it. Always verify the complete chain. Nginx sends the header, Express trusts the proxy REQ IP shows the real IP.